your main roles, in addition to knowing the schedule and which groups of students and which teams of students go where and when, also is helping them explore about identity, their personal identity, and their developing community identities in communities. My name is Wes Wong, and I am a member of the programming team for planning committee, and other folks planning team, program committee. Want to introduce yourself?
My name is Caitlin Lamb. I go to Liberty High School, and I'm also part of the planning committee.
I'm Dave. I'm helping out Wes with the planning committee as well.
And we also have Paulette, and she will be here later in the day.
We got some other folks on the other teams on the planning committee. Melanie and Derek and folks.
It's making me nervous. I don't want to get into the fray.
So what we're going to do today, we are going to do abbreviated demonstrations of each of the workshop activities. You've got two things handed out. You've got handout with morning workshops and afternoon workshops. The structure, or the structure and the theme of the conference starts with looking at personal identity in the morning, and then in the afternoon you build on that and work towards community identity. So, any questions right off the bat before I go do an overview of the schedule? Okay. Backpacks, and then those are for each of the large groups. And then there are small teams. So about 125 students make up a large group, and then about up to 25 students make up a small team. In each facilitator, paired with co-facilitator, you stick with the same team all day. And the morning after registration and breakfast, everyone assembles. The entire conference assembly is in the gym right here at 8:40 to almost 9:30. After the keynote address, then the students will split up into their 4 separate groups, large groups, and go to their respective large rooms. One of them is here. The purple group is meeting right here at booth 121. There's a map of Concordia University in the program booklet. It's on its way to the printer right now. And in the program booklet, not only is there this is an electronic copy, which you'll receive emailed to you. Not only do you see the schedule, there's also some tools in there and reference material for workshops. Questions about the teams versus groups at this point? Clear?
Is the assignments already done? Like which team, not the rest of the groups, but individual teams and committees?
The students, they'll be assigned at registration. And the facilitators, that is assigned, and I'll show you the assignments for also rooms and which groups and teams. There's some changes. I think some folks are letting us know that some last minute cancellation options. So you'll see you've got this blue block here, college and career fair. Facilitators' role during that is just to help get the students to college and career fair, which is at the library. You can take a break at that time, and it's staggered through like 4 different time slots so that not everybody goes to the college and career fair at the same time. What that means is your morning workshops will be broken up a little bit differently. And we'll get into that when we run through the workshop. The afternoons are all the same, not broken up by the break from college and career fair.
As an alternative to the college and career fair, they can go talk to, seniors can go talk to, what's his name, right?
Yes. What's his name? So
Right.
yeah, I want to emphasize also as facilitators, please encourage the seniors by May. They might have their answers for college and career fair. There's a Q&A session with Brian Yang, our keynote speaker, and it is about career choices, his background. And Brian Yang is an actor, producer, and he is we're delighted that he's going to be at our conference. He also helped produce the Jeremy Lin movie, Linsanity, and there's a screening happening in Portland the night of the conference too.
So logistically, if, so is there 2 facilitators? One will like get everybody to the college career fair, one will bring people to wherever Brian Yang is going to be? Is that how you
That's a good suggestion. You can do that. Your note that you're that each school is supposed to provide chaperones. So you know that chaperones won't know where stuff is. They'll be asking you where and when, but you know you can have them help direct folks, and there'll be other planning team committee members to help direct folks to the Q&A session with Brian Yang for college career fair. Right. So I'm just gonna running through the overall course level flow of the day. So morning workshops come in 3 different activities, and they're designed to be experiential and have lots of dialogue. And then you've got from there your college career fair or Q&A session with Brian Yang. Everybody goes to lunch also in like red and purple groups go in this shift, this time slot, and then gray and black groups go in this time slot. And then folks, we got an excellent show. Entertainment is happening in the gym, and that's also, go and as facilitators go and enjoy it yourselves. Who's our entertainment?
The slam.
We got the Slants. They are a homegrown rock band. They're all Asian.
Oh, Simon
From
Chan.
Portland,
Simon
yes.
Chan.
Simon Chan, yeah.
They rock.
Yeah, that's also a pretty nice, very, very nice treat that they're performing for us. Once again, here's groups versus teams. We can take a closer look for the red group. You've also got room numbers here. I don't think this one showed up on your where you have the room assignments, but this is in the program booklet. We look with the one version that you have. It's the times and the layout is the same. It's just missing like room locations. So questions about how that works? Anybody have questions? Okay. Hi, come on in. So at the end of the afternoon workshops, everybody goes back to the gym for conference closing, which will be real brief. Thank folks. Some students who some schools they will leave by the conference closing, and you can't control that. We know that ahead of time. All right. So at this point, I want to show something here. When we're doing the workshops, you can refer to this page in the brochure. You might have seen this with different facilitation activities before, or events. And Chinese character for listen, or tang, or ting, and your dialect, made up of other different symbols. And encourage the students, to try practice listening with ting. It takes more than just the ear. This symbol is the ear. This is an I on sideways. This is a number 10. So you pick those together. We have maximum focus. It's a number 1 together with heart, wholeheartedly, or undivided attention together. And then down here, king. As you listen to someone, you honor them, respect them as if they are a revered king. That's one interpretation of the character and the components, I think, of keep that in mind and draw students' attention to it. Let's get up right now. Everybody stand up. We're gonna demonstrate icebreaker, and I think it'll work. Everyone come to the front of the room. Let's take half of us over here, and then half of us over here. Let's see. Caitlin, do you want to go with this half over here? And then student facilitators who joined us last weekend, you know what this is about. You've done it. Okay. So can folks on the side come up here a little bit? So you can all see each other and stand facing each other in a circle. We can maybe take it. Yeah, let's have a couple. 2 more folks over here. Thank you. 1 more person. Over there. Sure. Okay, so cross your arms. Notice which arm's on top, which arm's on bottom. And then cross your arms the other way, so the other arm's on top. Now does it feel a little less comfortable? Yeah. Does anybody ambidexter folders on folders? Feels equal? Does one feel one's automatic and one's a little like writing with your non-dominant hand. So the point here is we typically do things, we have a preference to do things a certain way, and these activities, a lot of them take us outside of our comfort zone and then allow us to be open to learn and experience in a new way. If you've done in sports or a sports fan and you watch an athlete or you yourself have a lot of growth and go through a lot of discomfort, you can appreciate what that's like to have to go through the discomfort and then reach a new level of growth and learning. Okay, so now everyone, we're gonna cross our arms in front of us and then reach across with someone else's hand and then grab them. So grab someone else's hand.
I don't think this is gonna help.
Everyone has to be crossed arms. Yeah, everyone has to cross arms, and everyone needs to. We have
2 hands holding.
We have when there are no hands free, we've successfully tied a human knot. Now we will untie ourselves. So let's figure out how to untie. Okay.
We're just supposed to unwind, okay? So maybe go over.
Is anybody's arm twisted terribly?
It's come this way. There you go.
Over. Yeah. There you go. Got it. Ta-da!
I think
We're
so.
good.
Does it matter if we're facing outside?
We're
That was really good.
so fast.
We did it like 5 seconds.
Let's lower this
Okay,
Sorry.
Okay, use no mind. Not gonna work out this morning.
Hold up.
Well, this hand's the first one. Like,
So I'm on top of you, so
yes.
Some people are in, some people are out.
Oh, jump two, jump two.
No, you
Yeah,
just,
so
they,
the-
they just need to bend their arm. You
Yeah,
just-
bend the arm and get two. Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Your leg over here. Sorry. That's okay, you're fine.
There you go.
You're fine.
I have seen it done.
right?
Yeah.
And, oh, wait.
Wait, hold.
So you guys are
How
still.
come they're done already?
Yeah.
We've just been sitting here waiting for you. Oh my god, I'm lost. I know, it took us 5 seconds. Do you need help?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the right shit.
Twist. How about we just let I'm kidding.
No.
We all just were like, maybe you can turn it around backwards, like,
You can-
turn
you can-
it this way.
Come over here and like,
Oh,
not
no,
physically observe.
Oh.
Sorry, I don't know everyone's names, so.
Wait, what's
We're a little stuck.
We're stuck.
Yeah.
Try
Who's
has the highest point. Maybe
Oh, right here.
Yeah. And what?
Okay.
The sheep have the lowest too.
I feel like you have to step through. Yeah, he has to step through that. Okay,
Well, he can because my arm is on the bottom.
Yeah. And then I twist
break
that
somebody's
arm up.
You mean step over? Yeah,
you have to step through.
Let's go. This is that.
Go, 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 go.
Okay.
Okay.
Then what?
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There we
And then I'm wide right here.
I will go under this hand too.
Yeah, you have to go under that hand. That my hand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Over,
You go
over.
under.
Over. That's as low as I can touch it. And get the basketball legs. Get the legs over.
Yep.
Oh, you got it.
Good job.
Okay.
You go under this?
Over?
Over?
Yeah, over.
Over.
Yeah.
Over your
Because
next to each other. Both? Or just one?
Both.
Both.
Yeah. And she go over too.
All right.
Alright.
Oh, there we go. Yay!
Almost.
Wait. Oh, we were at 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. There we go.
Suggest just get people up and moving, some physical interaction. This is will happen immediately. This is the first thing that you'll do with the participants. So you all have a manila folder now, and do you each have something to write with? We've got pens here. What we're gonna do next is maybe so we're gonna just do quickly demonstrate the identity suitcase, which by the time the students come to your small room, or the time that you bring them to your small room in your teams, they'll have just made this. So we'll do it in a quick abbreviated version. Does everyone have a suitcase or a folder? Anyone else need a folder? Okay, something to write with? Let's see. No, I think we're just gonna do a piece of paper. Okay. You got something to write with? So the objective of this exercise is to allow students to reflect internally about who they define themselves as, who they identify as, and then also consider how other people assign identities to them, how they're perceived. And as the students do this, and after they've constructed it, there can be some very strong emotions that come up, and it's definitely very good material for experiencing strong feelings. And what we want to do with that in a safe manner is dialogue about it and learn together. So that's to be aware of. When you're all either here or the gym or student activity center or fine arts building in large groups or color groups, it will be, this activity will be led by either Dave or Caitlin or Paulette or myself. So it'll go something like this. We have these. This represents the outside of the suitcase. On one side, or the outside, answer the question, what do people see about me? So you can just, right now, just jot down a few words or whatever comes to mind, or however you want to draw or illustrate. Or some of how they see you on what you just written. What do they think about me? Or what do they think I'm like? What do they think I am? So, as an example, on this side I wrote male, thin-ish, Asian. And so I write over here because people see me as sort of thin. They think that I don't eat a lot. Or because what people see about me, they think I am heterosexual. So that's external identity. When we open it up, on the inside, answer the question, what don't people see about me? This on the inside, you can't tell. I would say, can't see about me. Inside, what don't people see about me? So I started with what people see about me. Inside, what don't they see about me? For example, on the outside, people see my race as Asian. On the inside, my ethnicity, Chinese, or could be a person's faith or religion. And it's up to individuals to define, to answer the question as they choose to. People don't see about me. My family's Catholic. I have attention deficit disorder. So the invisible parts of our identity. And then corollary based on what people don't see about me. What do I want people to know about me? Or what do I need from others related to parts of my identity that you cannot see from the outside. So, an example, what do I need from others? Because people don't see that I've ADHD. I need understanding. And that's could be vague or could be specific. We wrote, for example, people don't see about me that I was adopted. I need others to know that I love my parents, my adopted parents. It's like something very specific. These are just examples. So I'll give you a few moments to write a few things down. This will take about 10-15 minutes to do this during the actual conference. We're doing an abbreviated version now.
Are these questions written down in here?
They are, they'll be in, no, they're not written down in the handout. I think what we'll do is we can add them and send a revised one. We will have them during the large group portion when we do the make the suitcase activity. On the schedule, in that first morning time block, so like right here. At that point, the lead facilitators, Dave, Caitlin, myself, and Paulette joined us. We may put it on the screen in the room. Paulette, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay. Hi, I'm Paulette. I'm going to be helping out with the afternoon session. I'm also going to be one of the facilitators in the room, so if you have any questions about that, ask me.
Alright. So,
The room, so just check the audio. Try to figure it out before.
and there's each room should have a computer, projector, and screen. So all the equipment is there. And if you have problems, find your lead facilitator or program team member, Caitlin, Paulette, Dave, myself.
Will they already be locked though? Because usually there's, locked by
So
administrator.
password.
Yeah.
If you just on the computer open the browser and go to anything, the default page for guest access should load. You just click I agree, and then you should be able to get it. And it'll either work that way, or it'll have on the podium or near the equipment, it'll have the username and password.
Okay.
Very good question. Thanks, Josh.
So now we're going to demonstrate the fishbowl activity.
Yeah.
It's the second part of the suitcase activity. So we need.
So, sequence of things. Students have made their suitcase, identity suitcase, and we have said, okay, we're going to split up into teams and follow you with your suitcase into the small team room. And you've done the human knot icebreaker, and the fishbowl is a way to dialogue lots of the complex stuff, a lot of things related to the identity suitcase. So need 5 volunteers, please, to come up and sit in these chairs up here.
I will be one of the volunteers.
And then 5 other volunteers to stand up here, at least 4 feet away from them. Like when you're doing it in real life, stand about 5 feet away from them. If you see
Do you have a facilitator at all?
So I need one more participant. Please. And then I need 5 more folks to come up here. If you have a small number in your team, like less than 20, and we don't know what the how many students are going to come, because the list is growing. We program for about 500 students, so the maximum that would be in your team is 25. Usually it's less. If it's more than 20, do 2 fish bowls. If it's under 20, you can do 1 fish bowl. Where you have, say it's 20, you have 10 chairs in the fish bowl, and then you have 10 observers. So half are in, and ask the folks in the fish bowl, scoot the chairs in so the chairs are touching, almost their knees are touching, and they will go through a dialogue. The folks on the outside of the fish bowl, their role is to just observe the learning that's happening here. We'll go through 1 round, and then they switch. What's that? Okay. So the objectives here is, this is a way to process and debrief the reflections of the identity suitcase that they've gone through. I'm gonna run this. So, you know, in most conversations, when someone's speaking to you, your brain is processing the next thing that you're going to say in response. When we do dialogue, it works like this. You press pause on that tape recorder that's going to be playing internally automatically. You suspend that in front of you and just hold it. Hold those thoughts that you automatically want to respond to what the person just said. And each person takes turns in the dialogue circle. They can take the time that they need to formulate what they're going to say, and other folks respond and respect their silence if they need time to think. And if the individual chooses to pass, just say pass and go to the next person. And what happens in this dialogue versus debate or a discussion or conversation is the lines of communication. It goes from one person to the next, but also incorporates everybody rather than one person to this person, or 5 people listening to one person and then each individually processing. Questions on the dialogue principles? Okay. So what you do as facilitators, I am on this second page here, the morning workshops handout. I'm going to ask the folks in the fishbowl, and we'll start with Joshua because he's next to me. About how did it feel to write down external and internal identities? And then we'll go this way.
It was hard to separate them.
Yeah, it's just really hard to distinguish what it is and how people see the things that else can say.
I think it was harder to write what people can't see rather than people what others see with me. It was harder to write what I see myself. almost hard to distinguish both of them. And since you're writing about yourself, you don't want to sound really conceited because you don't know if they really think of you that way, but maybe you perceive it that way.
Well, I just use the normal stereotypes to put on what the people see about me to help distinguish between what they don't see in me and what they do see in me.
Thank you. So when you're facilitating this, ask 2 or 3 questions before you switch roles. So in this demo, I'm going to ask you to just want to switch roles with the folks who are sitting and standing. And fishbowl, scoot your chairs in so they're almost touching, so your knees are almost touching. Observers, be at least 5 feet away. You can say like 3 feet away, but it's also here. Anybody fall. And remember I showed the, there was a piece I projected about dare and taking risks. If you got a chance to read that, you might want to refer to that or reference that. It will be in the conference booklet. It's not in a handout.
Unfortunately, the afternoon.
Oh, okay. So it is in a handout.
It's in the afternoon session on the very back page. The piece on dare.
So you can refer to that as you set up the fishbowl dialogue. So let's begin here because you're closest to me, Vicky. And I'll take the time that you need to. Again, you can pass if you choose to pass. Who tells you what these identities are that you use to construct your identity sequence?
Well, for the portion where I asked like what people see in me, I got it mostly based on like my peers or sometimes even strangers, because those are the people who don't really know me best, and they take what they just judge based on like first impressions or appearance.
Yeah, basically I try to look at it from like a different perspective. I try to think like what would teachers see about me, what would other strangers think about me. Like just always like first impression.
I think it's mostly first how the class must dominate us. Most of the time they get feedback from people all around and we're like this or anything that mostly it's the self-talk that always in us that tells us about who we are and we can change that information.
So based on the first impression and also that you make the assumption that you just personally someone else. That you don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. First impression, what's the first thing you project about yourself? That's what I was thinking.
Thank you. So again, you would do 2 or 3 questions around in the fishbowl. If it looks like there's a lot of dead silence, not because people need to process internally to think to formulate the words and then speak, but there's a disconnect between, okay, I'm not sure what we're doing here. You can just do more of the next part and less of the actual fishbowl dialogue. So we will do, that's, regroup the entire team together. So let's, folks, thanks for demonstrating this. You would all go back to the chairs and the team, or if you want to have folks sit, everybody in a circle, you can do that. This is where we process, meta-process all together after having a dialogue. So a different method of reflecting, experiencing, and sharing. And then all together, just more free-flowing, less structured, ask these suggested debriefing questions. For example, how often do you get to share with others who you really are? So some, notice we've structured the activities so different learning styles and communication styles are given opportunity to function really well. Some people, have no problem speaking to large groups of people. Other people will be very silent if there's more than 6 people and they're all supposed to talk to each other. So this is going to work for those who need an audience to respond to questions to. This is not going to work so well for the people who, if you really want to know what's on their mind, you have to talk to them one-on-one. So as a facilitator, it's your responsibility to kind of be mindful. Is anyone dominating the conversation that's all together meta-processing? Are there folks who are withdrawn? And if they're withdrawn, I know that a lot of times people may look like they're out of it, totally disengaged, and in fact they're actually very much paying attention and tracking everything that's going on. That's part of internal, external, what you perceive and what's really going on. So a way to kind of moderate that, you can use the concept and just share with students, step up or step back. If you're the person who, this is my natural way, is to step, is to be more back here. Step up. A little uncomfortable, but I'm learning. If I'm used to being blah 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 blah, all right, tone it down. A little uncomfortable, but step up, step back. So, questions on this this activity, the identity-based fishbowl? Yes.
Can some of the discussions, once the question is given out, be a little bit more organic? Like once they each answered, can they put more in?
Absolutely.
In response.
Absolutely. Please, please, please make the questions your own. You'll be responding in real time to the particular topics that come up and the particular dynamics that are in the room. The questions here are suggestions, and I encourage you to add more. The intent of these questions and the format is to unpack what people are experiencing, and then have an opportunity to share with others, and then something that can only happen at something like aaylc is when people verbalize something that is very individual to them, and they realize other people experience very similarly or a parallel way, or they have something in common because maybe they have similar something similar culturally. It could be, oh man, I thought I was the only one when my parents really wanted me to be a doctor and wouldn't let me do that because they wanted me to study that. And it can be very empowering, where particularly many of the participants in their schools, most of the time, they are one of only a handful of Asian Americans or Asian Pacific Americans. So without having other Asian Pacific Americans around who do not have the same exact identities and same exact experiences as them, but do share some common cultural patterns or relatable, maybe that's the more important, the relatable cultural patterns that can be very empowering, and that's, I think, the foundation of the intangible benefits of a conference like aaylc.
Hey
Hey Wes,
Yeah.
while you're waiting for that, can you clarify the schedule?
Okay.
So, are we doing the human knot, the suitcase, and the fishbowl within that first 25 minutes of the identity suitcase? Or is that tied to the personal identity as well throughout the day? All the things that we're doing.
So the initial part of when the students are writing down the suitcase, that's going to be in the large groups. So that's going to be in that first, so 25 minutes? Yeah, at 9:30 when they're in the large groups. That's when that's going to be. You actually write down yeah.
So actually, let me go to one like this. So red group, like up to 125 students all together in a big room like this. Human knot is the first thing that happens here.
In the small teams.
Yeah.
So,
and then you go.
Yeah, after the students fill out their suitcase and write it down, then we break up into small teams, into the small rooms. In the small teams is when we just do the human knot and the fishbowl and the video. So at this point, we're in the small teams. Thanks.
Will we be there during the big group exercise too, though?
Yeah.
The large group.
Yeah.
Are we part of it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Everyone will be in the same room.
So there's three things in the first in workshop one: human knot, fishbowl, and then larger discussion.
I think that's important at that point in the large group because they're there, they're the ones that are going to have to like herd their group to follow those who learn, kind of, right?
Yeah. So when we're in the large group, towards the end, or before we break up, I think we'll probably introduce the facilitators for each room and which color team you're with, so that you can kind of say, you know, I'm the red team. Whoever's red, follow me. So you can kind of, it'll be a little bit easier to herd your students into their groups. So we'll be sure to introduce you guys. Yeah.
And you'll note here, that's I know that you have different color. I think pink is not a color. Pink is my name. You want to change it to P-I-N-K instead of P-I-N-G. I don't want everybody to come to my
Oh yeah, it's for the wristband
That's
color.
great.
Taking them.
Yeah.
Something right.
For the wrist, on the back, yeah, right there. Not that pink, it says pink, and there's a new spell for the wristband.
It's okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, pink doesn't want everyone to go to her team.
You don't want everybody following color.
Also, the YouTube link, I think it's not the right one.
Okay.
About how?
No, I meant on the brochure.
Oh, on the handout?
Yeah, the YouTube link is YouTube.pe.
Oh, U.2. Yeah.
About how long should this human knot, fishbowl, and larger discussion take?
The human knot shouldn't really take more. Well, it should take less than 10 minutes.
Yeah, you can do it in under 10 minutes. So you got some wiggle room there. Some of the room locations coming from the gym, it will take them longer to get there. So 5 to 10 minutes.
It also depends on the size of, or how many students you have. If you have a large number of students, you may need to break it up. And it's obviously done faster if there's a smaller number of students, but human knot. So.
And then how long should number 2 take? The process of discussion. Oh, 30 minutes, you got that, okay.
Yeah.
So who would be leading when you're in good groups, like 4 different groups? There'll be multiple facilitators in the room, so is there one person?
Good question. Up here, in the large groups, facilitating the identity suitcase and then providing the overview. I glossed over this and I apologize. So overview, what's going to happen is, I mean, for facilitators, you don't need to really do anything, but what's going to happen is Caitlin or Paulette or Dave or myself will play a video where students go over the schedule, tell the students to put on their wristbands, this is your team, your backpack, string bag is your group, and this is kind of set the tone for the meat of the program. And then the members of the program team, we will facilitate making the identity suitcase. So it's already done by the time you lead the students to your team members. That answer your question? Okay. Another question? Did you want to add anything?
No, I mean, it's important for you guys to be in the large groups, just because we're going to introduce you towards the end, and you know, so the students know who to look for when they're following you to the group. But you don't really have to facilitate anything. Yep.
From the logistics, when do you tell them to put the bracelet on, so I want to make sure that they don't lose it along the way? When do you guys plan on telling them to put the bracelet on?
Yeah,
They get the bag?
if they do that, that's fine. If they lose it, that's we gotta find another one for them. The intent or the design is that they put it on once they come to their large group rooms and watching the video. The video will explain. Take the thing out of your bag, put it on.
It's the speaker.
It's a speaker, if you're playing two videos at once.
Yeah, the video is playing so we can hear it.
You pause one video.
Sorry about that.
There's another one.
Yeah. No, but that was the one that was playing.
No, that's not the one that's playing. There's another one.
I must have
Something else is on.
I think it was that lady, because at the end she starts mocking the Irish guy or whatever, and she sounds
Oh, here we go.
Oh, that
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not crazy. I'm not that crazy.
So the back here, after you've done the fishbowl dialogue about identity, you've done including the meta, everybody shared perspectives. This is lighter. Just play this video, and the objective here is to one, you lighten the mood, and then hopefully connect some of the identity suitcase processing to more, okay, what do you do about it? What can you do about it?
Nice day.
How's volume?
Yeah, certainly, right?
Louder.
Louder.
Where are you from?
Louder.
English is perfect.
San Diego. I speak English
Where are you from?
Well, I was born in Orange County, but I never actually lived there.
I mean before that.
Before I was born.
Yeah, like, well, where are your people from?
Well, my great-grandma was from Seoul.
Korean. I knew it. I was like, she's either Japanese or Korean. But I was leaning more towards Korean.
Amazing.
I'm Shasu. There's a really good teriyaki barbecue place in my apartment. I actually really like kimchi.
Cool. What about you? Where are you from?
San Francisco.
But where are you from?
No, I'm just American.
Really? You're Native American?
No, just regular American. Oh, well, I guess my grandparents are from England.
Oh, well.
Hello, Governor! This there. Drop the balloon to you. Let's get a sporty. Double, toil trouble. On the camp, beware Jack the Ripper. Bloody hell! Cheerio!
I think your people's fish and chips are amazing. Really? Weird? Must be a Korean thing.
It's a very lighthearted, humorous take on something that also has some heavy themes to it. We process the video is in a think, pair, share style. So we'll just do a quick demo. Partner up, person next to you. If there's not someone next to you, move to near someone so you have a partner.
So are you gonna show this to the class, or are you just showing us this video clip? Are you gonna have us show it to the class?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes. So.
And are you gonna have a discussion after this? Or?
Yep, that's what we're modeling right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So facilitators, when you check in the morning, you'll get a DVD. You can put it in the computer, and all the videos will be on there as a backup. You've got internet. You can load this, and I heard that the link is not correct. Was it for this one or for the another one?
It's just for on here. Just
This extra period.
do that too.
Oh.
It's supposed to be http://youtube.com/dw.
For YouTube, yeah.
That's a short link, so it is active. It does work. It does work.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I think.
There's a should be a period between the two.
Oh okay.
I think it is because it's not. It's the domain is youtube.com, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a short link.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Short links?
Pretty short.
just
Pretty
use
short
DVD.
work. Or use the DVD.
Yeah, they have short links like
Okay.
that. It works.
So everyone have a partner? Partner or dyad?
Sorry.
Is there have an even
Morning sure. Yes, everyone has to meet you.
Okay. So as pairs, actually let's change something else. I'm gonna never mind, gotcha. Change my mind. Liz is gonna go as your participants have paired up. Facilitator asks the question, and he will ask the participants, say like, okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions and think to yourself without interacting verbally just yet. Give yourself some time to reflect on this question. For example, what went through your mind as you watched this video? The process internally. And then one person will answer the question to the other person, and the other person is their only responsibility is to listen actively, and then you switch. So let's demonstrate that now. Turn one person who decide who's going to go first. Go ahead and share to your partner what went through your mind.
It has like these questions are we need to be writing to.
The questions will not be in the program or conference booklet.
Okay.
So
we need to provide these questions.
Yeah, these packets are just for you as reference, and you can even create your own questions. Like it can be very organic, but you guys are just leading it. They won't know any of this stuff.
And just play it by ear, get a feel for how the students are reacting. You can always add on questions. I mean, these aren't like set in stone that you have to ask these specific questions. They're just more like guides. But you feel free to ask any other questions you want to, that if it's relevant to their conversation or how the flow of the discussion's going.
Thanks for asking. But Ping, do you have a question?
What are you hoping to achieve at the end of this whole discussion?
For this? For the talking about the jogger.
Video after watching the video and the student have the chance to talk or voice their opinion. At the end of it, what do you want each student to take away, or what you want to achieve? Do we have something that you have in mind?
Objectives or goals for this activity is to create a relatable experience from the abstract concept of the suitcase. And then also, you know, our format of think, compare, share, that is, you know, allows folks for learning style, communication style, they're much better individual, one-on-one. And I think there is really not a lot of those opportunities on a typical school day. So, and it also builds sequentially to our next activity. Is that too vague? Or is that
No, it's not
clarifying?
too vague. I think it is very important that when you have all these different exercises, you kind of have to let us know what you have in mind so that each one of us can carry that throughout the day rather than, you know, we just look at it and no way to actually link them together. It's very important for us to learn how it links together and what your objective is at the end of the day so we can start kind of build this momentum for the whole session.
I personally
Thank
think
you.
we all have our own objective, our own goal, our own view, and if you don't tell us what we should be projecting, it's kind of hard. We can each classroom come out with a totally different view of this video.
Right.
So we just try to understand, I guess, a little bit of what you want us to portray.
Right. And just because we're all facilitators doesn't mean that we all have our own view, but we can't say that we're not biased. Some of us are biased more than others, and we all have our own thing. And at the end of it is that do you want the student to leave and thinking, oh my god, that facilitator was terrible, and he has his own personal view but so biased. Or you want the actually person to leave and say, this program is great because we actually learn something new instead of listening to something I don't agree with.
That
you know
is
what I'm
a
saying?
fantastic segue to the next activity. Yeah, I apologize, I didn't clarify the objectives of this activity on that handout. Soko, you had a question before we jump into the next activity?
Is there any way we can get like a lesson outcome at the end of the activities?
So for example, let's see if we have like on the page 3 there for cultural identity linked up. I wrote objectives. Is that and the objectives are to further examine your own cultural identity or intersecting identities, multiple. And then consider, that's the type of there should be consider what clues you use trying to ascertain cultural identities of others and how these match with their perceptions of themselves. I'm sorry, Soko, what's the words you use? Like, not target. Lesson outcomes. Is this what you had in mind, or something much more specific? Like, by the end of this, students will be able to say
by the end, like
concrete
objective.
Yeah, but this is more like a description of what, it's okay. When you write something, description what the program is about. This is more like description of this exercise about. But the outcome is a bit different.
Okay.
I mean, it's not just what description outcome is.
So by the time, results.
Because you're gonna have students that were born here, and they will of course look at the video and say, yes, I relate to it. But for us who come from another country, it's like I don't see anything wrong. I'll just say I'm from this country. So it's, everybody kind of have different experience.
Right.
So are we gonna say everybody gonna come up with the same conclusion, or are we gonna have them even like argue each other even more and get angry? Or I mean, what's the purpose? The outcome is that we want to help each one understand that we're from different background and everybody's gonna react differently. So that's something that the facilitator needs to understand because not everybody have experience facilitating a workshop. Some might be really green, some might not have a lot of experience, but to help the class, because all these are young kids that some come here to learn, some just still very big about what's all about. We, as a facilitator, even though we are facilitating the whole workshop, but we need to make sure that we cannot be somewhat unclear about what we're trying to do. Because then the blind will lead the blind. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, just
so I want
to understand. Yeah.
Thank you, both for pointing that out. I think what would help is if also each facilitator keep in mind that you will make it your own, and I don't want to restrict you too much to responding and adapting to what happens in real time when you're actually doing it, or restrict you from bringing your expertise. I think overall, I should mention overall outcomes for the program, all the workshops, is that the students have gained leadership skills, gained and practice leadership skills, had opportunity also to practice communication skills, and experience some growth and learning about Asian Pacific American identity. That's on this level. You ask for outcomes for each component or each workshop activity, and we can write that and revise that and share that with all facilitators. So, shall we go to the next activity?
The next activity is the cultural link-up, which is on page 3. So, at the beginning of the activity, we'll be giving you guys paper clips to hand out to the students. There's no particular reason for the color, it's just colorful.
So this is what is this activity? It's a moving around activity. Physically, it also the desired outcomes we're looking for here is that students challenge the notion of bias. I think that quite often students are exposed with this framework of prejudice is based on bias, prejudice is unjust, prejudice is unfair, and it's bad, so don't do it. Therefore, it's like a real short connection to any bias is a bad thing, it's terrible. If a person makes an assumption, if a person is biased, then they're racist. But I wanted students to challenge that paradigm, which I think is quite prevalent, and understand that within 7 seconds, humans ascribe to each other, within 7 seconds of meeting them, their perceived gender, race, social status, and a number of other identities that are frameworks in our mind. And that's automatic. That's just human nature. I've got some facilitation notes mentioning, first of all, that this activity for some participants may be very emotional, and for you to prepare them from disengaging and then to encourage them to get the most out of it is to acknowledge that this may make you uncomfortable, and that's not a bad thing. Who's familiar with the concept of learning edge? Or maybe concept, I just learned that term. You know where your circle of comfort is, and you know what your body and your brain feels like when you're getting outside of your comfort zone and it becomes uncomfortable. And your brain and your body also knows when you're so far outside that it's really, really bad pain. The learning edge is right here, a line between being slightly uncomfortable and unhealthy uncomfortable. So that's where we're most open to getting the most out of these kinds of experiential activities.
So it's pretty important to at least go through the facilitation notes and the context before this activity and kind of explain to the students what's going to happen and acknowledge any uncomfortable feelings that they may have before the activity happens. Just based on the feedback that we've already tried out before. So,
Caitlin or Dave, you want to add anything?
It's just like good to know once you explain this to really emphasize that the students when participating in this should be really honest about it, not because when we actually demonstrate it in a second, we're gonna tell you to like look for someone. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just gonna link up with a random person next to me, but you wanna be honest and actually look and think, oh, who do I relate to? So you should emphasize that they should be honest about who they're
Actually, on that same note, you should emphasize that you should try to link up with someone you don't already know.
It's going to be easy to say, oh, I already know you, I'm going to hook up with you because we have the same, whatever, the activity in common. But that's too easy. You have to actually approach someone you don't really know. It makes the activity more worthwhile, like if you link up with someone you don't know.
Are we determining this based on external factors that just kind of like our first preconceived notions of them, or are we actually going to be asking questions about like tonalities, or?
I think it'll be more clear when we do it. We'll do an abbreviated demo version. We want to emphasize to you that the activity is actually very simple. Where the realness happens is when you have the dialogue and debrief afterwards, and that you need to be aware of how that could play out and responsive to how folks will respond to questions. So the last thing I'll mention is that this activity this activity or versions of this activity is used quite frequently in a lot of multicultural, social justice, diversity and inclusion, lots of different teaching dialogue exercises and conferences. I got it from a friend of mine who teaches multicultural leadership in California. So you see there, I've got some notes about context. This is the background for you, knowing that we have these multiple layers that influence how we frame our own biases and our own identities. Through the debrief of this, something that I encourage facilitators to do is to draw out the different multiple experiences or multiple identities. In particular, what we see underappreciated, but is growing in number, is identities, folks who are biracial or multiracial, multi-ethnic, Asian American adoptees. Also, be mindful of, while we use this big category of Asian Pacific American, sometimes we want to avoid being East Asian centric. Pacific Islanders and South Asian, very visible, very present in our communities and the students who will be at the conference. So let's get into it. Each have a paperclip, and the instructions, we ask each of you to close your eyes for a moment and take a look at your inner mirror of yourself. What does culture mean to you? What do you think of as your own cultural identity? So when we did the identity suitcase, some things are cultural, some things are not cultural, it's more open-ended. This is bringing us to focus on culture. And when you're ready, open your eyes and stand up and turn towards the center of the room. Now, without talking, look around, look at the other folks here, and try to find someone who shares a cultural identity with you. What you're going to do next is approach that person with your paper clip, and non-verbally offer to link up paper clips with the other person. And the other person, Phil, can decide to accept my offer to link up and communicate that to me non-verbally, or he can politely decline my invitation to link up. So that's okay. So we're linked up here. And you can encourage the participants to do charades, to pantomime, but it's supposed to be nonverbal. And communication researchers tell us that only 38% of our communication is the words that we say. So consider that. Once you have linked up, try to non-verbally again learn more about your partner's cultural identity.
Question? So if you're looking for the person because you think the person has the same race, or because the person has the same quality of personality, or you're looking for the person's color or the feature, I mean, what you're, because students gonna ask, I'm gonna go to somebody I feel like I have connection, but what kind of connection? What level?
Cultural identity, and that's defined by the individuals. And there's some, I mean, again, coming to what you asked before we got into this activity of, everybody's different, and
but when you have
for example,
agent,
you've got, I still maintain that within this the conference and the participants and a sampling of about 20-25 students, there's enough commonality and actual diversity of what how people choose to identify or are identified by their peers, by forms, boxes that they check out, institutions.
So do they all 25 people, let's say all 25, do they actually know each other long enough to know who each one person are, or these are a lot of strangers? So if they're all strangers,
right.
So how can I assume that I have the same identity, I actually cultural identity is similar?
Exactly. That's the point.
So you don't know,
that
but then
the
you're
point.
gonna have also, then kids gonna walk around like, I don't know who you are, who am I gonna go to? Right?
So, and that happens outside of the conference. Many interactions you have with people who are strangers, or maybe you know them on one level, yet either you choose one way or another to connect with them. And so this is the tricky part. If students interpret the exercise as, oh, you're encouraging us to stereotype other people. Challenge the students to consider how in real life perceive and respond. That's just human nature, right or wrong. That's the real power of this exercise, and it takes risks on your part as a facilitator and on our on behalf of the conference to go there. I think that it is really it's perfect timing to do that, to take that next step. And
we're gonna have a room of kids that some kids are more popular than others, right?
Absolutely.
So what if you have a few kids that do not get linked up? What are you gonna say? What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Do parallels like that happen?
But you have to prepare facilitator how to deal with a situation like that.
I have a question to you. I mean, could it be easily just as effective instead of once they do link up or don't link up, instead of forcing them to continue with the nonverbal communication if they actually verbally say to each other or out loud to the group why they chose to do what they did and whether or not people in the link up agree, because at this point in time they've really gone through a lot of they've hit a lot of fine points with leading up to the purpose of this exercise. So
Yes.
you know, at that age they're probably going to be resistant to even doing this. So once they get to that point, it might be good to like actually have them verbally say why they think or kind of express what they have or haven't learned. You know?
So let's press play and continue with plan, because that's next.
Okay.
Okay. And they're most of the student facilitators in the room. They help the program team refine how we were doing this exercise. Last Saturday they did a demo.
So can you, if we're going to continue on with the non-communication, can you guys show us an example how you actually link your two cultures together so we can see?
Okay, so here we discuss the following.
I mean, the actual linking, when you allow the students to, in silence walk around the room and try to link with someone, that should only take a few minutes.
Yeah, really less. It'll be less. It'll be less than 5 minutes.
It goes a lot faster than you think. And so once everyone's linked up, then we'll have the opportunity to verbalize what exactly they were thinking. But in the few minute or two that people are still linking up, then you can just non-verbally.
I think what we should do is practice it. I know there's a lot of concerns and still questions, and maybe just after doing it, you'll have even more questions. But then with your guys' with added input after participating in it, we can tweak some things here and there, because I feel like it's hard to take your input and then try to change the thing right now, and we keep on re-explaining different things.
So let's continue. I will demonstrate it briefly with Phil, and then you will give it a shot, the linking up, and then we will run through an example of the dialogue that happens after. Does that sound alright? To reject or accept my offer to link up. Okay. Then you say, alright, thanks everybody. Then bring everybody together. This is where it gets real. So, what you want to actually? You want to let's do this.
So did you skip the nonverbal communication between the two of you?
Yeah, because I'm trying to demonstrate and respond to you. I'm all mixed up in my head as a sequence.
Let's just link right now. And
that's
then
what
you
I
can
want to
add
do.
the
Yeah.
facilitator as we link.
Yeah, let's do that. So, as the facilitator would say, and non-verbally now, look around the room and find someone that you share a common identity with and offer non-verbally your paperclip. You can link up, and the other person can choose to accept to link up or decline.
Do you want to, like, when you give that instruction, do you say, like, non-verbally means you can do charades and things?
I would just emphasize saying non-verbally. Like, part of it is allowing students to be creative and problem solve.
Yeah, just emphasize that it's silent, so they can do whatever they want as long as you're not making noise.
Or non-verbally.
You don't prompt them, you can just let them do it.
Me, I prefer not to. If you want to, that also works.
Okay.
Yep. So let's do this in like less than 3 minutes. And refer to the piece on dare. You choose, and one way to think about encouraging the students to get the most out of these activities is be willing to put your foot in your mouth, take it out, and not run away. So you can start, just start with, as you meta process everyone together, try to sense general reactions and ask open-ended what did you see? What were your general feelings going through this?
And just guide the questions based on the students' reactions. If they were very emotional, encourage them to talk about it. If they weren't very emotional, try another question. It just depends on the students that you have in the room, their reaction to the activity. So you can base your discussion questions and leading questions on how the students react. Because every student's going to react differently. Every group's going to react differently.
If you're holding the hand up, can you please hold it up if it's in your hand? Okay, let's start in the back room there. Can you please read aloud the second question there under questions to discuss with a large group?
How did you decide to name offer your pizza?
Thank you. And then next, let's read the next question.
What happened after you offered your book?
Phil?
I'm trying to find the question.
Okay, the last page, towards the left.
How did you decide whether to accept or refuse someone's paper?
How did it feel for your paperclip to be accepted or rejected?
Next person holding a handout.
How did it feel for someone to make assumptions about your cultural identity?
Were your assumptions about the person's cultural identity correct?
What about their assumptions about you?
Was it easy to find someone with whom you felt you could make a cultural connection?
Does this exercise remind you of any other experiences or situations?
Thank you. I'd say that the last question is, or a similar question, is very important to ask. Okay, so you've done this. Think about taking it outside and after the conference. You can tell from reading and listening to these questions that a lot of the concerns that were shared before we went through here, those will be coming up in folks' mind. And you are, as a facilitator, encouraging that dialogue and learning to happen collectively in the group.
So what if the room heats up with discussion?
Yeah.
Is that the intent, or like, or do you have to control
the exercises is designed to provoke a reaction a little bit. I mean, and the other parts of most activities strive to do that intentionally, and because you can do something that's more superficial. That's easy to access those kinds of experiences. We want to go deeper. That's the value, and we have the potential because of the facilitation skills that you do bring, and the composition of the students, participants, and their experiences.
So do we have to set a tone and be better so they know why the questions are being asked instead of just give a message either at the beginning or the end, or do a tone for that?
Tone you want to set in the beginning, right? I'd say right after the icebreaker is that, you know, everyone here is encouraged to put their foot in their mouth, take it out, and be willing to not run away, and that we all have different experiences, and that we're here to learn from each other together and respect one another, and honor your emotional responses and reactions, because we don't want to get students to have in their heads that, oh, this pisses me off, so I know that when I'm pissed off, typically in a classroom exercise, that's bad and I'm not supposed to do that. No. Students, they get pissed off, they'll feel whatever they feel. And what do you do as a facilitator with that? Get them, encourage them, invite them to engage. if they choose not to engage, that's on them. And sometimes students would just need some peace and quiet by themselves. Sometimes what may really help them the most is having a peer think, pair, share, and get that emotion out. And whether that's anger or grief or sadness or whatever it may be. And what can help you manage when things heat up is know your own triggers. Know your triggers of your co-facilitator. So have the discussion. I'll share with you who your co-facilitators are. And what I mean when I say trigger, could be words or situations that when you hear them, because of what those things mean to you, you have a reaction in your gut or your heart or your body, your neck, you tense up, and it doesn't allow you to or makes it challenging to continue stewarding the group. So, like for example, me, a personal trigger is if I hear someone assume that either me or someone else who is Asian American assume that they just arrived in this country. I know that when I encounter those kinds of things, I tense up and I have a strong knee-jerk reaction, and I get defensive, and that's how I respond. I might also share that with my co-facilitator and say, hey, if you see me like looking down, say that's how I respond when I'm triggered. What I need from you is to just say like maybe like touch me and say, are you okay? Or like how things going. Have that conversation with your facilitator ahead of time if you can. If my co-facilitator says certain words, like maybe my co-facilitator says to me, I kind of start tweaking when people use homophobic language, and what I need from you, Wes, my co-facilitator, is to give me some eye contact, like a nonverbal, you're all right, or remind me to take some deep breaths or something like that.
What do you mean?
What do you mean your facilitators? We'll leave that up to you. I'll show the what I think is the current list of co-facilitators.
It's already in the list.
It's in there.
It's listed. I think.
With your co-facilitator, and make sure you guys are aware of the time, because it's 2 hours. Or more that. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a rough estimate of how much each activity should take, but at least one of you guys or both of you guys should just be aware of the time to make sure you have enough time for all the activities to do. Because like if some of the activities prompt a lot of discussion, you don't want to discourage them, but you also want to just be aware of the time so they can still get to all of the other activities.
Is the cultural identity linked up still part of workshop 1?
Yes.
Thanks.
So should be about half an hour, and then you see, depending on your group, there are 2 groups who don't have a break from the college and career fair, and then there are 2 that are interrupted.